Alright, so I've been making this kind of video on my TikTok for a while now, but I'm going to go more in detail for you here on how to set up your own adventure. But you need about 5 things. So you need money, you need a plan, you need a location, you need resources, and then it's time to go. So first of all, let's start with money. Money's the hardest one and is by far the most important. So I know not everyone's making as much as they used to, and everyone's job is different. But whatever you're doing, whatever amount you can spare, no matter how little or no matter how large, set that aside immediately. Pick an amount that you can set aside. If it's $5, it's $5. If it's $1, it's $1. If it's $1,000, it's $1,000. Set it aside. And make sure you've got the discipline to never, ever, ever touch it. And it's probably also best if no one even knows you're doing it, so that way when life comes in and hits you like a truck, there's no excuse hanging over your head like, well, you've got 10 grand sitting on the side for emergencies, go get it. It's like, well, it's not for emergencies. It's so you can go do something really cool. So, set it aside. Make sure no one knows you're doing it, and never touch it. When somebody gives you money for whatever reason, whether it's a gift, it's family, set it aside. And if you're given change, another great way to do this is if you're given change, put that in your stash as well. Most people don't even think twice about having change on their hand and putting it in a cup that they never use. Put that in your adventure cup. And you'll never have to worry about it until it's time. And then you'll amass huge amounts of money just in coins on top of what you're already stashing aside. On top of this, it's probably best to diversify a little bit. It's not required, but I think it helps a little bit. So what I mean by that is have some in cash, have some in just like a bank account. If you can do crypto, that's great. Do some in crypto as well. It makes it a lot easier to separate it from your normal money and keep it somewhere that's a lot easier to keep track of and separate from your normal wealth. Now, for a plan, this is one of the easier steps you can do. It's basically, when do you want to go? Where do you want to go? How do you want to go about it? Blah, 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 blah. And it's best to kind of bullet point that if you can figure out exactly all that stuff. Start making like little lists you can do and start checking them off, gamify it, make it easier for you to do. So it'll be like, I want to go here. I want to go with these people. I want to go see this spot. Blah, 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 blah. Check it off. Easy, done. Location is sort of connected to that, but it's gonna be more specific. It's a more specific version of your plan. So it's gonna be at that point, once you know exactly what you're doing, it's where you're going exactly. So not just, okay, I'm gonna go to Alaska. I'm going to Anchorage, I'm going to Wasilla, I'm going to the mountain range, I'm going to Fairbanks, I'm going to and this is how I'm going to get there with this location, and I'm going to take this path. Basically plan out your route exactly. This is very important because this is basically how you're going to stretch your money out, and you're going to kind of pinpoint your plan, and you're going to connect all that stuff in your plan to it. But I think it's important enough to be separate because this is a kind of a gigantic step, and you're probably going to want to set up, like, you're probably going to want to buy an atlas of some kind. You might not take it with you, but it'll help you keep track of things, of where you're going, and how you're doing it, and how you're going to go from, like, point A to point B. If you're hiking, or if you're going to canoe, or if you're getting a guide to take you there, if maybe you're going up a mountain and you need a guide, it's very important to get that set aside. Now, for the other one, it's going to be for resources. This is going to be when you actually start using your money to buy the stuff for your trip. Once again, you've already made that plan. I recommend making more bullet points. So like, oh, you need a backpack. So like bullet point, there's a few short things, not everything, just like backpack, um, trekking pole, um, hunting rifle. And then once you buy them, check it off. And then erase it, go do the next stuff. And once you start buying that stuff, you're going to also need to start getting used to it. Because maybe it's not going to be something you're going to want to take you with you, and you're going to want something else. Maybe your backpack's too small. Maybe you didn't realize that a 70 liter was too small and you actually need an 80 liter. Maybe you didn't realize how uncomfortable your shoe size is when wearing 2 pairs of wool socks. So you're going to need to get like half a size bigger. So then you got to trade that in. So you got to get comfortable with the equipment you're wearing, and you're going to want to trade in. And you got to do it kind of like a rat too, because you want to stretch that money out as long as possible. So every single website is going to have like a sign up for 10% off your first order, or click me for a membership and get free shipping and 15% off all orders. Do that every time and go through their return policies no matter how annoying it is. And don't buy the cheap stuff. Buy the real good stuff too. The good stuff is going to be usually more expensive. And look online if you don't already know what you're looking for to see what other people are taking for similar trips. So that way you can track and get the equipment that's right for you and get all that sorted out. This is very important. Your life very much depends on this. So get everything that you need, make sure it's sorted out, and once you have it all, start actually using it. Start filling your backpack in and putting your boots on and taking them out. I've been doing that once every week, and I've got it all on my TikTok of me doing it. If you're going somewhere cold and you need gloves, get comfortable tying your boots with your gloves on. Get used to using trekking poles if you're not already. Get used to putting on snowshoes with your boots on. Make sure you're comfortable with this equipment. I cannot hammer that home enough. It is important. Very, very important. Then finally, once all that is done, there's still a little bit more in this resourcing you got to do. You've got all the stuff. There's still one more resource you need, and that is time to actually do the trip. So hopefully because this, depending on your job, this is going to take different amounts of time to set up. And different jobs will let you take different amounts of time off. Maybe you're comfortable just quitting and going. I don't know. But you're going to need to set that time aside for how long this trip is. So for however long you're planning to go, you got to make that time. So if you want to go for a month, you got to look into your company's policies for holidays and make sure you get that time off. If you're only going for 2 weeks, usually that's pretty simple. You can usually get that simple enough at most places, except for mostly retail work. But get it. If you can, go talk with your HR people. See what they recommend you doing. They're a valuable resource. I know most people think HR and just immediately want to run home screaming, but that's what they're there for, or that's what they're supposed to be there for. So go talk with them. See what they recommend, see what you can do, and get it set aside as far in advance as you can. So I went and talked to my boss about it 3 months ahead. So that way there's no excuse, no one can cut me off, no one can go and pop in, so I can get all my stuff done beforehand and then still get my time in. That's what I recommend doing that. That's what's worked for me, and that's what I think is going to work for you as well. You might need more time depending on how toxic your environment is or how strict your vacation time is. It might fluctuate a little bit. Just gauge your company and how they usually are and just judge for yourself. Just be smart and think about it. Now, once you've done that, you've gotten your resources, you've gotten your money, you've gotten your plan, you know exactly where you're going and how. All that stuff is bought and you're getting comfortable with it. Now it's time to leave. Now it's time to saddle up everybody who's going, whether that's just you or you and a guide or you and a couple friends and family. whoever. And this is when you go have fun. Go on your trip. Have fun. Maybe it's a little different than you thought. Who cares? You're out. Go do it. Remember, this is for you, so you want to make it cool, you want to make it fun, and you want to make your money last as much as possible with the time you have. When all that's said and done, hopefully you return, you've had a blast, and you can plan your next one.